All right, welcome to this edition of Cyberchat. I'm your host of today's Cyberchat, Dave, the guy always asking those dumb questions to keep you guys proceeding by inquiry. Thanks for joining. Today I want to talk about THETA Network and some key developments that we've seen, really sort of a monthly roundup, if you will. Before I get into that, I want to point you to our latest episode, episode 12 of the ZTitic Newscast. With myself and Xavier Diamant. We were joined by a very special guest, Bix Weir, on a world first THETA Network Anycast live stream interview in the news category. Of course, there are other streamers doing esports and other things, but as far as I'm aware, we were the first news category streamer to do so on the Anycast network. Now, that is a beta of a permissionless streaming platform that's decentralized and based around the THETA protocol, something I'll be talking about more in this show. But I invited Bix on the show because, number one, we were inspired by him to look into the THETA project. And in addition to that, he covers a lot of information that is, let's say, synchronistic with what we cover on the ZTitic Newscast. So he's also, been somewhat deplatformed, shadow banned, and many pejoratives have been used about him, among some, institutional type, financial folks and so on. So I thought he was a great guest to have on, talk about THETA, of course, but also he's an expert in financial systems and economics and monetary history. So it was really awesome to have a discussion with him. I really recommend you go to our site, ztitic.news. Check it out. Now, you can watch it on YouTube, of course, while we're still allowed to host on YouTube. You can also subscribe to our podcast and listen to the audio-only version. But as you ZNN heads know, we do have a video component. Now, we didn't share Bix's video or our video. We present, sort of a internet view and bring up clips and so on. But it was mostly discussion with Bix, and we talked about a wide range of subjects, everything from gold and silver to THETA, cryptocurrencies, as well as spirituality. But perhaps most important here is you can actually go and stream this on the THETA Anycast platform right now. If you download the Edge Node software and set that up to where you can click this link, which has our unique stream ID, and that's streaming 24/7 on our Guardian Node hardware, which I've talked about before. Our model is to, we have a THETA network stake, and we are hoping to generate enough T-fuel to where we can, in a self-sustaining way through our Guardian Node earnings and our own Relay Node earnings, we can independently host and distribute our unique brand of content, ztitic.news. But right now it's in a beta form, so the THETA Labs team is letting users use the Anycast for free, meaning they don't have to spend T-fuel to distribute that video. And it is a truly peer-to-peer, decentralized, permissionless streaming platform. So we originally were, again, the first news category streamer doing original content on the THETA Anycast backbone, but we were also doing it 24/7, and previously we were airing the documentary Plandemic. Now we've switched our channel, if you will, to a restream of the Bix Weir interview until we come up with another good feature that we want to restream. So anyways, check that out. It's a great episode. We thank Bix again for participating. Look forward to having him on again. I mean, I did want to call out, our statistics. We had our biggest day ever when we did that stream. The 26th, I think, is when I uploaded it. And yeah, we got the Bix Weir bump. Okay, moving on away from ztitic.news, talking more about the Theta Network and the recent developments, really sort of a monthly roundup. I see a theme developing with the Theta project, and that is mass adoption. And that's sort of been the problem with most of the cryptocurrency projects that have developed around blockchain technology is they haven't reached that mass adoption. Primarily because it's so new, it's so different, and we are already in a state of lack of trust. And blockchain is unfamiliar to most people, and there are a lot of technical hurdles to actually utilizing the technology, such as gas and wallets and private keys and all of that stuff. So Theta has promoted themselves as being a crypto project that is focused on mass adoption, and they have demonstrated this over and over just with their own genesis on sliver.tv, later theta.tv. Their first use case was to solve a problem in a business that wasn't even based on Theta or blockchain. It was literally esports streaming, and they were trying to innovate something that would decrease their content delivery costs, which they paid to third parties like Akamai and AWS. So invention is the mother, or what is it? Necessity is the mother of all invention. And I see Theta as exemplifying that. And once they had made that innovation, you see all the institutional players coming in, the various advisors and so on who recognize Theta for what it is. So anyways, back in early August, they integrated Microsoft Play Ready DRM standards. Now, why do I care about DRM standards when I'm trying to do independent, censorless streaming? Because it speaks to their roadmap as far as adoption goes. They're looking at not just the independent, decentralized streamer, niche community that I might be a part of, but they're looking at, to the stars and beyond, and everything in between. So this sort of approach makes it much more comfortable for a major player, a Hollywood studio, to consider using the Theta network as a means of distribution for their content, which they rightly protect. I mean, they spend millions of dollars on it. They should be able to monetize it and not have it pirated. They have their models. And DRM is just an extension of that. It's a way of protecting their content. So that really bodes well for adoption of big platforms like Netflix and others who have to license that. And I really see that probably coming about because of their hiring of Jerry Kowal, who I talked about in a previous Cyberchat, who has a lot of connections in the industry as far as content licensing goes. And probably as soon as he started was like, well, what are you guys doing for DRM? How are you guys managing that? So that was in early August. Later on in August, they announced Failarmy to partner with them on theta.tv. So now Failarmy, who's got millions and millions of views on YouTube, probably making a handsome living on YouTube, they are setting up parallel operations on theta.tv, and they are able to receive much more easily. Nobody pays, nobody donates to Failarmy probably on YouTube. If they do, it's minimal compared to the advertising potential. But now they can advertise and receive T-Fuel donations from their restreaming on theta.tv. So they're doing 24/7 Failarmy, and this just speaks to the direction they're taking theta.tv. They're trying to get more diverse content types available on that network. They've already sought out MGM Studios, some of the classic Hollywood movies which were restreamed. I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but were back in June. World Poker Tour. Also, they have a really sort of ironic partnership with NASA and SpaceX, streaming their TV programs, programming for sure. and they're even getting into virtual conferences and other live streams. So they're becoming more diverse in the THETA.TV platform. But THETA.TV uses the Theta protocol and the blockchain, but other organizations will as well. And that brings us to one of the major developments, and that being their announcement and explanation of their growth plans. So on the 27th, there was a letter written by Mitch Liu, the CEO of Theta Labs, talking about some of their roadmap plans, as well as probably the most important announcement being their unstaking of 30 million Theta. Now, if this is like alien language to you, you need to learn more about the Theta project and what staking is. I'm not going to go over that in this particular video, but to generate T fuel to leverage the backbone, you have to get the T fuel from somewhere, and they're generated by validator nodes and guardian nodes. And validator node is like a strategic enterprise guardian node. They have 2 million or more Theta tokens staked, and they help validate transactions that happen on the blockchain, and will probably serve other functions as well, including for video on demand and other innovations that are yet to come. But they're not only selling these 30 million tokens, but there have also been rumored a new validator node that might be in the works. Looking at guardian.io, where you can monitor all the guardian node analytics and metrics. They have, where is it? There's a list of the validator nodes, and they're actually named. Here we go. So you can see Theta maintains these stake, and they've got them on their servers running their, the blockchain. But they have always said that their goal is to decentralize the ownership of that stake. And of course, ZNN has a stake, but we're not big enough yet anyways to become a validator node. But someone is here. They've got 6 million staked in this particular validator node. Now, are all 30 million that they're going to release into the market, are they going to go to one validator node or one company with multiple validator nodes? Or we don't know that yet. We do know that Theta has partnered with Sony, and some have speculated, maybe they have inside information that Sony is going to be this next validator node. They already have an integration with PlayStation and the Little Star platform. I'm not too familiar with that, but I know that you can watch THETA.TV there. And it just seems like Theta is on this pursuit of not only forming partnerships with institutions, running, proof of concepts that show a very specific point that, garners more of that institutional buy-in. And so it's really impressive to see how they're running things. The other major news item that came up, highlight of this monthly roundup, is Coinbase mentioned that they were looking into 19 other digital currencies adding to their platform, and one of them was Theta. So the other rumored validator node might be Coinbase. The interesting thing, of course, is that these sales are private. There's not a lot of liquidity in the Theta exchanges, so I don't know what it would do if they just released all those tokens into the market, or what price they're even selling them for. That's all probably under non-disclosure. But interesting developments nevertheless. And one other point I want to make here is this Guardian Monitor is an independent community run project which visualizes all of the Guardian node validator node metrics. Join the chat here, and cool guy running it, he also entered it into the Theta Hackathon, which also ended, I think, at the end of August. And the winners of that were Guardian Monitor, which I voted for. I thought they should have won. But also Gpool. Gpool is there's sort of a proxy Guardian node. So we could actually set up our own pool such as this. Gpool is a community-run project that allows you to stake your Theta tokens with them and earn T-Fuel based on their operations. So instead of buying that personal computer to run your own Guardian node, you delegate your tokens to them and they stake them for you, and then the T-Fuel earnings go directly to your wallet. Now, some people would say, oh, that's got some counterparty risk. Well, not really, because they don't ever own your tokens. They simply have them staked to their node. And so whatever proportion of Theta tokens you have relative to their whole pool, and that whole pool relative to the total number staked, that's going to all be mathematically, that's the protocol, and you will get your fair share. And they probably, in some cases, they're going to do a better job running the node than you would, because you'd have to sort of worry about making sure your computer's running and the software's running all the time. So if you don't want to set up a Guardian node, but you have over 10,000 tokens, and that is the minimum right now, you can go over to Gpool and contribute to the pool and earn your requisite T-Fuel earnings. And then the third place winner was THETA Fire. So it brings theta.tv to the, I believe, the Amazon Fire Stick, which goes right into a smart TV. Just sort of a window into what's to come. It's not going to be long now before they have native integrations in Samsung smart TVs and other smart TVs. So those were the winners of the hackathon. They released, I think, $17,500 worth of Theta tokens to these winners. Again, I voted for Guardian Monitor. They released a really cool, map here that visualizes where all the Guardian nodes are hosted. And they even offered a tag. And ZNN, you can check ZNN out right here. We are number 121 on the list of Guardian nodes. So I wonder if we're going to go up or down as people pour into this market and realize the value of running a Guardian node, which essentially generates passive income. But I thought, getting in here early was going to be good for us, not only from an advertising perspective, but for the future. If people want to support ZNN, you can eventually, easily donate Theta tokens, and we can increase our stake, which gives us an even more sustainable means to distribute our content. So that's really an amazing development, in my opinion. You can see we're almost at elite status running our Guardian nodes. So that really bodes well for us in the future, having an independent means to, again, distribute our unique content. So on that note of, independence and so on, there have been some other things development-wise that Theta seems to be focused on that is aligning not just with what I feel is the trajectory, but also what, things that Bix have covered before, Bix Weir, and that is that this really is going to democratize the means of video distribution and finance, because it is sort of Bitcoin plus all this other great stuff that it does. It does everything that Bitcoin can do. You can store value, transfer it, around the world, quickly, cheaply, much more than you can dollars. But it also, it's commoditizing bandwidth in a way that, AT&T could never envision. And there have been some comments made about their preference for, making that a reality. It almost by virtue has to be sort of a peer-to-peer network, but it seems like this Anycast platform is something that they're really going to want to continue to develop. So in a recent interview, again, Mitch Liu, the CEO, talks about, he was asked about, what the next big projects are in the next 6 months. And he says, The most significant project we've announced for the next 6 months is our Anycast edge node platform that permits local ingest and encoding of streams, end-to-end decentralized streaming, decentralized chat, and event notifications. This functions completely over the decentralized THETA network and allows completely permissionless streaming, which is becoming more important than ever as streamers are deplatformed on YouTube and the entire video and social media platforms are subject to censorship and bans. So here we have an American company innovating video distribution technology as not just as a, with its own revenue model and profit potential and solution, offering, but they're also trying to disrupt this negative force in the creative engines of the internet, YouTube, Facebook, etc., by building this out, keeping it decentralized, keeping it peer-to-peer. And I mean, that's really, to me, that's very impressive and noble of a cause. So I really look forward to the updates to the edge node software, which again we run 24/7 with our Guardian node operations and our own independent ZNN streaming. And on that note, you can head over to thetalist.tv, which is sort of a proto beta YouTube of the edge node streams, which are available. And you can see ztitic.news is again the first news category original. Like we've got CNBC over here being restreamed, but this individual is not an independent sort of blogger, vlogger, news curator. They're just restreaming CNBC. ztitic.news network is original, budding, investigative, long form journalism and news current event analysis, not just, another Brian Callen podcast. And this is our unique stream ID, which we're doing again over Anycast. Eventually we'll have to pay our own T-Fuel to support that. But we see in the future, new means for, additional like donations and revenue generation to where we can spread this information far and wide. So the last point I want to make is how regarding the growth and stake token use, traditionally, and it still is currently the case, you have to have a minimum of 10,000 Theta tokens to start a Guardian node operation. There was a theoretical limit of 1,000 Guardian nodes. They've already far surpassed that. I think there are now over 1,300 Guardian nodes operating with a minimum of 10,000 tokens staked. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, 1,338 Guardian nodes. There was a theoretical limit for 1,000. We've surpassed that. But now, with the current price of Theta being almost 43 cents to buy 10,000 tokens, not only do you have to go through all the hoops associated with setting up an account to buy cryptocurrency and then exchange it, but it's going to cost you almost $4,300 to do so. So that's might be, a barrier to entry for many, just from a financial perspective. And then you talk about running a node, you have to buy a computer. That might be another $1,000 to do it right to spec. So, making the software more efficient and, runnable, to use a very lay word, non-word, to make it runnable on low power CPUs, that's going to increase adoption, but also lowering the minimum limit of Theta tokens required to start a Guardian node. Right now, again, it's 10,000 minimum. That's $4,300. I think they are potentially playing with the idea of lowering that amount, and I know that because on the Guardian node chat, there was not only did Mitch Liu mention in one of his interviews that he's looking at 100xing their decentralization and 1000xing their bandwidth. But we saw in the Slack, the Theta Slack, which is only available to Guardian node operators, I believe, Jay Long, who's one of the key developer directors at Theta Labs, talks about they've released a new version of the Guardian node for Sapphire testnet. This version lowers the Guardian node staking threshold from 10,000 to 1,000. And this may be what they're planning to announce on mainnet. I think it only stands to reason, because that would be 10x, 10x more affordable to run a Guardian node if only you need 1,000 tokens versus 10,000. Now, maybe the price goes up even further. Maybe it goes to $5 and then they lower it to, 5 tokens. And then, you've got, maybe 10,000 or 20,000 Guardian node operators who are both decentralizing drastically the operation of the blockchain, which you can hardly say for Bitcoin anymore. But also it's building infrastructure that the people are literally incentivized to build the infrastructure for a massive mesh network. And it's just incredibly exciting to be so early in the development of this, yet we're already so far along. If you look at the price, we not only surpassed the former all-time high back in May, but we surpassed it again recently on virtually no news. So a lot in the Telegram channels and others are wondering what was the cause of that. Some are speculating it's the sale and the releasing of the 30 million tokens. Maybe someone knows something. They're buying up all that's on the very illiquid exchanges. I don't know. Maybe it's organic growth. But I think 56 cents, our current all-time high, it's not even close to where the tokens are going to be. Once, neighborhood, TV stations, local TV stations realize the value of having a sustainable source of T-fuel versus, having to traffic in dollars to buy their bandwidth from these big, really outdated, archaic, monopolistic bandwidth providers. I mean, I think, we are still very, very early in this market, and this just looks like a massive wall of worry. Again, I'm not a trader. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice or medical advice, but I think we're very, very early. We're very fortunate, again, to be, in the top 130 Guardian nodes, earning T-fuel for our future plans, our network plans. Now, the other thing I want to get back together with Bix on, and this will be the last comment I make about the Theta project before I wrap this up, is that their recent blog post on September 2nd talking about decentralizing finance. Okay, so this is the beauty of their project, is it's not just decentralized video streaming, which is so valuable in today's times, but doing so on a blockchain. And most people won't, even technology people will not get this. They will not understand why this is so important. Not only do the tokens literally become like a software access token, inherently valuable because they get you access to the software, but it is literally a cryptographic token that exists completely outside the traditional financial system. Now, I know they're getting, they're trying to get listed on the Japanese, some of the exchanges over there. And you can't get it on a U.S. exchange in the U.S. That's because they're doing things, quote, right by the book, so that when this is popular, when this is mainlined and mainstreamed, it will not be a regulatory issue in any sense of the word. But these are not dollars that are arbitrarily inflated by Steve Mnuchin in his basement clicking the mouse, or the Federal Reserve Board chair. These are both digital assets, but also it's literally a commodity at a certain point. The ability to use the World Wide Web, decentralized, permissionless. I mean, that is the promise of, again, the World Wide Web and the open web. So check out their blog post about this. They are not only releasing and working on smart contract support, but they are looking at new use cases that can be enabled through common decentralized finance tools like lending, stable coins, and decentralized exchanges. With these tools, users can create smart contracts that allow decentralized funding of content creators. Picture a mid-sized streamer just getting started, ZNN, with great content, ZNN, but a following that's not sustainable yet, ZNN. Early backers could seed this new streamer T-Fuel to help them fund initial expenses, and in return receive a share of the T-Fuel the streamer earns via THETA.TV or another Theta-enabled platform. This could be done entirely via smart contracts. So for example, if you and a streamer agreed to a certain amount of funding for 30% of their next year's T-Fuel earnings, this could be done in a fully trustless and transparent way, since Theta blockchain natively supports T-Fuel earnings splits at the protocol level. So they have obviously engineered this thing for the future and for a variety of use cases which have yet to even be imagined. My only hope is that, I believe in this project team. They clearly know what they're doing and are looking to solve not just a content delivery cost problem. They are literally looking to enable, the content generators to enjoy the fruits of their labor in an untampered, trustless way using software. It's seriously genius. So check out their posts on this, how they plan to democratize and decentralize finance and the distribution of video. I mean, it's really incredible stuff. Theta is down. I was almost down 10% today. That's a buying opportunity, if you ask me. We're clearly going to retest this former high, and that's going to be a battleground maybe for a bit until some more news comes out. That'll be support level, and maybe it goes down way below that. Maybe it drops 50, 80% because markets are so manipulated and these are so illiquid. It would just take a very small amount of money to manipulate it. And I know that that's going on, but long term, looking at the demand for high fidelity streaming and the infrastructure, I think long term this is a hodl. Hold on for dear life. If you can, stake your token somewhere. I think they're going to be liberalizing the policy on the threshold for Guardian node ownership and operation, and that's just going to not only cause a blooming of the network effect, but it's going to further decentralize everything and make everything more accessible. And yeah, it's going to really bode well for the future of ZNN. All right, that's my Theta update. I appreciate y'all joining this cyber chat. Hit us up, ztitic.news, share, like, and subscribe.